right, gang, welcome back. I got another special podcast here. This is one of the fun ones. They're all fun. I don't know. Ed, never mind. They're all fun. Tonight we've got Robyn Sandoval from A Girl and a Gun, and she was very gracious enough to come on and just talk about her organization and I wanted to share how I got involved, just basically just a question out of thin air. It's like, hey, Dave, you want to come out and do this? So we'll get into that. But also throw out there, it's like, how much fun it's been and how, just it's a ride when you go out there. And the place, God, Cameo, don't ever leave that place. It's beautiful. So, Robyn, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to do this. And say hi to everybody. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate. I always am grateful for an opportunity to talk about A Girl and a Gun and to share it with the world. We're kind of the best kept secret out there. A lot of people haven't heard of us, and it still baffles me after all these years, 13 years doing this, that there are people who haven't heard of A Girl and a Gun, but I love talking about it and I love sharing it with other people. So thank you for the opportunity.
So give me a little bit about your background. I read a little bit here, but tell us a couple things that aren't in your bio or aren't written on a website somewhere.
It surprises people that I was strongly anti-gun for most of my life.
Okay.
I didn't believe in firearms ownership, really. I didn't understand it. It wasn't something that I was raised with or that I understood or that I respected. I thought that it led to violence. I thought that there was a lot of people who were irresponsible with it. What I saw in movies and on the news was my reality and my paradigm of what it was. Watching different vulnerabilities. I remember after 9/11, there was a segment on the local news that said, you would think that terrorists would go after this, location, but actually, if they were to do this, the whole city would be decimated. And I was like, how irresponsible of the news to put that out there. But I realized, wow, we are one person away from really being on our own. And so those little tiny seeds that were planted over the years, watching these catastrophic events happen and watching families really fight for survival, made me realize that my family's not any different. And that if it meant having some training to learn something I was afraid to learn or to get knowledge I didn't know how to get, if that's all it took, I was willing to do it. So that's what opened my eyes. And
that's how it started.
Yeah.
So how long did that all take? Because so basically you had this people call it the Rubicon, right? This is the point where I'm not turning back. This is the point where I've realized something needs to change and I got to do it. But how long did that start taking?
It was many years of a conversation with my husband because he wanted to bring a gun into our home. And I said, absolutely not with 3 kids. I wasn't going to do it. But it was just over the years recognizing these vulnerabilities. And finally, it kind of, one day I said, okay, he researched, he found the perfect gun, and I knew it would stay locked away and never to be touched and never come out of the safe. And I was okay with that. And it kind of just happened that it was in the beginning of 2011. And at the same time, my friend and mentor, Juliana Crowder, was a firearms instructor in Austin. And she, like many other women who were in business at the time, decided to have a happy hour. So at the time, back in 2011, the in thing was for realtors to have happy hour at the open house and for stylists to have happy hour at the salon. And so Juliana said, I'm a firearms instructor, I'll have happy hour at the range. And so she hosted women at the range. And then afterwards, everybody went for margaritas. And it was just a chance for women to come out and learn about gun safety and learn about shooting and opportunities available. And so I heard that she had done that. And it was actually back in the day, it was on Meetup, if you remember Meetup. And so there was no way I was going to go. And so my husband went on Meetup and he RSVP'd for me to go. And I don't know if I was more scared of going to a dirty gun range or shooting a gun or meeting these women or all of the above. I was terrified, but I went, and it changed my life forever because not only did I learn this tool and learn how to use it, how to make safe, how to rack a slide, how to make impact on the target, just the super basics. I learned how to use the tool, but more importantly, I met other women and I thought, what do they know that I don't know that they're not afraid? Yeah. And what can I learn from how, yeah, and they're not afraid. And I had all these questions. How do you talk to your kids? How do you store them at home? What if people at work know? Like all these things that I was afraid of. And it allowed me to have a bunch of resources available to me to ask those questions. And it changed my life forever. And the amazing thing is, because of my journey and because I started really at square one, I can
Mhm.
relate to so many other women who are in that exact place on their journey. Women who are not raised around firearms, and it's a completely foreign concept, and literally have all of these unsubstantiated fears, just like I did, and maybe be passionately anti-gun like I was. And I'm able to bridge that gap for them and bring them to the light side and explain, where they maybe have some misinformation and give them opportunities to learn. And so it's been a really amazing journey.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, you look at firearms instructors in general. We want to change some attitudes. We want to modify some personalities. We want to modify some, I guess you could say, some information so it's correct from our perspective, right? And you're doing it in a not so different way because you're educating them, you're teaching them, you're doing some, but it's just your approach is different than like what I would do. I'm just doing classes. I'm just a guy that's got classes. Come learn from me. Where you're creating this whole community aspect of learning, and it was interesting because I was, at the training event just a few short weeks ago. I was talking to some of them. I just once in a while throw a question. How'd you get started in this? How long have you been doing this? And I had similar stories where one lady in particular, she said, I'm 62 years old. I got into this a year ago. And she goes, I wish I did it 40 years ago. And she's like, I'm playing catch up. She goes, I've been to like 5 training classes last year. I'm going to do more this year. She goes, I've got the time. I've got the money. I'm going to do this. She goes, if I could do it every day, I would. I'm like, well, okay, slow down. But just, you could feel the energy coming off of her. And it was just amazing. I turned around. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to control her on the range. She's just going to go for it and go for it and go for it. And she's going to want more and more and more. And she actually did good. She had fun. She's one of the ones that has been emailing me about different techniques. And I could tell she's really taking what she learned at the conference to heart.
People ask me all the time what makes a woman want to become a gun owner. And I get that question all the time. And honestly, that it's so varied across the board. We have some women who come to us because they're fearful, or they want to learn it for defense. Maybe they had a situation that happened to them. Maybe they had a situation that they saw on the news, or that happened to a friend, or that they just realized walking through a parking lot one day, I don't want to be a sitting duck. Maybe they had a moment like that. There's other women who get to a point in their life where they do have a little more time, a little more money. They want to do something that's a little outside their comfort zone to feel a little stronger. And a lot of times they don't know what's involved or what the opportunities are. I know so many women come to us thinking that indoor range that they go to that's down the street from their home with its static targets is it. That's shooting. That's what they see in the movies when the cops go and do their qual, or when somebody goes to the range, they see this static indoor target and they're able to put all these rounds in a small hole, and they don't realize that there's so much more to it, that there's a lot of technique involved. There's a lot of skills that we can start you on your journey and really help you hone those groupings to get tighter so that your confidence gets larger. But then so much more is involved. Like, let's get you moving and shooting. Let's get you competing. Let's get you doing IDPA or USPSA or ASI or 3-gun. Come out and shoot 3-gun with us. And then how about rifle? Let's do rifle. Let's do sniper. Let's do shotgun. We've got our Clays extravaganza. There's just so many things that people didn't even know.
Shoot at targets from helicopters, because why
not? Let's shoot from the helicopter. Like, there's so many things that people don't know is available to them. Many women feel that training itself is not available to them. And I often hear that that's one of the reasons they got involved with the Girl in the Gun, is just because they could. They didn't know that they could. They didn't know that training was for everyday women and not people in law enforcement, not men, not operators. There's always some kind of exclusionary qualifier that people think they have to check a box. And they don't realize that training is available to them if they seek it out. I wanted these girls who are really new in their journey to be exposed to these instructors as well. And I'm very proud that so many of them trusted us to come out. And I kind of beat that into our instructor team, that you're not just teaching someone this weekend, you're really having the opportunity to change her life and to set her off on a path where she will love shooting and she will love training and she will want to keep doing it. So don't mess that up for her. And,
we're part of the journey, right?
Yeah. So often, though, I found 10 years ago, this was our 12th conference. Back in the day, there were so many instructors that had been teaching for so long, and they were so advanced themselves in their clientele that they had lost that touch with that new shooter. They
Yeah.
had lost that communication. They had lost what that felt like to be that new shooter. And so I love that a lot of our instructors, I hear all the time that it reinvigorates them, that it fills their cup for the whole year, because many of them who are only working with in-service cops and people who get paid to be there and don't want to be there, now we have these girls that want to be there and are excited to be there and want to hear everything that is to offer. And so for them to be so willing and happy to switch gears and go back to that new shooter experience and to bring them along, I think it's a great challenge for the instructors. And I think that I'm also better able to communicate that to our instructor team as well, of what to expect in that regard too, so that they know when I say new shooter, I'm talking new shooter, and here's her experience, and here's what, and you get to help her to the next step. You're not going to make her master class. You're just going to give her the next step. And I think that's been helpful too.
It's interesting because when talking to some of the mentors I've had along the lines, and now they've seen me grow into an instructor, and I've actually, some guys like John Holshin, and some of those other guys who was new to this conference this year, and talking to him, he was asking me, what do I expect? What's going to happen here? And I'm like, John, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to be crazy. And we talked afterwards. He goes, that was awesome. He goes, that was probably the most fun I've had in a long time.
Yeah, I was so honored that he wanted to come, and I was even more excited that Martha is going to open a chapter. She's going to be a facilitator of one of our chapters. So not only do they support what we're doing, but they're really embracing it and are willing to help us on the local level to introduce more women.
Right. So I don't know if maybe you've had this, but it was funny is when not this past one, but the last year when I started putting out that, hey, I've been invited to come out to this, I actually got people commenting, oh, I thought it was just for women only. Like, well, you're a guy instructor. How can you go? That's not right. And I'm like, I'm not in charge of the organization. I've been invited. I'm going. But why shouldn't it be right?
Because I want the best person. I want the best instructor from my girls. Like, that's it. Yeah. If the best instructor is female, I want her. If the best instructor is male, I want him. But there's a lot of times we want the best instructor. Now, on the local level, Girls Night Out is girls. So I have all female instructors running Girls Night Out, because when you're going to a women's only event, it should be women only. Conference is a little different. Conference is about learning, and it's about being exposed to a whole bunch of different topics and credentials. And a lot of times, if I want the best.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm grateful that I have a community of really talented and incredible women. So it's not just me. It's a wonderful team. I'm just fortunate to kind of be at the head of it, for them to listen to my crazy ideas and believe in my vision for it. And we keep going and doing amazing things. So every year we train about 40,000 women. We have 300 events every month. We're growing year over year with more and more women coming to us. And I'm really proud of the work we've done over the past 13 years that, back in the day when we would have an event, or when I would go to a training class, I would be the only female there often. And so the whole idea of conference was to get women out there to get, you can have this class for 3.5 hours with this instructor. Now, don't be afraid to sign up for his full 3-day, 5-day class. Don't be afraid of going and hanging with the guys and doing it. You have the gear, you have the knowledge, you can do it. So back in the day, I would often be the only female. And now I'm so proud that when I go to a class, usually about half of us are girls. And it's pretty regular. We're not the anomaly anymore. We still sometimes might be outnumbered, but we're not the novelty. And I'm very proud of that we have girls going to advanced classes. And more than that, we have women who are range safety officers, women who are instructors at all levels of the range environment, range owners. And in the manufacturing side, we have more women in the C-suites, more women in product development, more women in marketing, giving out a certain message. So I'm really proud of the changes and not that that's all because of a girl in the gun, but I know that more women got in training, and training was taken more seriously for women directly because of a girl in the gun. And that confidence has grown because of a girl in the gun. So I definitely have enjoyed seeing the change of the industry over the years.
It's like from my perspective, and I talk about this when we talk about concealed carry classes and holster options. And, I say like 10, 12 years ago, options for women were pretty limited. And it was usually like a slightly modified guy holster. And then somebody started figuring out, I don't know why it took them forever, but they figured out that there's different geometry involved, right? Yeah. And right now, I'm telling people, guys, you think there's options like, thousands of options for guys? There's 10 times that now for women because the industry has just exploded.
It's been amazing. In the beginning, there were a lot of really unsafe products, and because women weren't really represented in training environments, and so no one asked. No one came to someone who was a real instructor and said, what do you think of this product? They just thought, we need to get some women's products out there. Let's put this out there. Let's pink it and shrink it and put it out there. Or let's make something out of lace because girls love lace. We got stuff like that all the time. It was ridiculous and it was unsafe. And so that became really a part of our training, was to not only train people how to use the firearm, but how to identify really unsafe equipment and gear. And then we started being able to work with different brands on how to make products that were appropriate and safe and how to incorporate them into our training. We definitely have more options than ever before, which allows women to use better firearms than ever before. We don't have to use little tiny guns because we only have little tiny holsters. So it's like all come along, and it's been really great.
Yeah. And it's interesting, because I usually take note of the firearm and person combo when I'm working with them, because that's a feedback loop for me. Like I'll see, okay, this size gun isn't working with this person, and it's because maybe finger length isn't, or it's too long, or the grip, the hand size, just the palm isn't really big enough. And it was interesting to see that a majority of the ladies that were shooting in this last year, there were some pretty full-size guns showing up, and some of them were like, well, I actually carry this concealed at home. I'm like, good for you. That's awesome. Stop going with the little tiny pea shooter thing, the cricket from MIB, right? And let's get a gun in your hands instead of this thing that's just going to look like a toy. And it was just refreshing to see a lot of the shooters embracing that more full-size gun or even the mid-size gun and realizing that it worked.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons we offer demo day at our event is so that ladies can try different firearms and realize that there might be a better option for their hands. And I'm so grateful that we have such great sponsors that come out and they bring the entire line. They bring a day's worth of ammo for everybody to shoot. And then most of them offer discounts to the girls. And so they were able to get over $1,000 off of Staccato. They were able to get, an HK, they were, so in addition to the 50 plus guns that we give away in 4 days, girls were able to try a whole bunch too. And, our friends at Mossberg, they listen to us and they've created products based on their experience at conference, which is awesome. And it's very humbling. Cool. Yeah. So it's really humbling when manufacturers listen to this audience, because where else are you going to go and have 1,000 women shoot your firearm and give you instant feedback about it? It's a very specific a niche market, but we have a lot of expertise, obviously, in that market. And I love that they actually listen to us and take it to heart. My best Arkansas experience was at Walther. Their headquarters is in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Okay. And they actually let me bring a group of girls to Walther when they launched the PDP F Series. And we got to go onto the floor and build our own F Series. So for my F Series, I'm listed as the assembly technician for my serial number.
Oh, boy.
Not only, the facility blew my mind. I've been to places like Blackwater and SIG and some other unknown places that have a very huge range presence. But to find out that this was built by the state instead of a private entity, and then just driving around it, I was just blown away.
The thing about Cameo is, I love that it is by the state, because that makes it, it just has people always talk about Colorado and their laws, which are tricky, but we have to stay and fight, and we were invited in, and if that door is open, I'm going to come have a conversation with everybody in Colorado about why they want us there. And the economic impact that a Girl and a Gun brings for just that one weekend is pretty outstanding. I mean, we have a massive footprint in the whole Western Slope with the number of people that come in. So they want us there. And fortunately, everyone in that community knows it. But what makes Cameo unique and what makes it truly amazing is that it was designed, inspired by Walt Prue, who is a shooter. He's on Team Wilson Combat. But you can always go to a facility and understand that when it was designed by a shooter, by somebody who competes, somebody who loves it and wants other people to love it too. There's just a different layout about it. It's the forethought that was put into it to lay it out and how it came together. Of course, we only had 65 training areas, so I need them to, I need them. I only had 30 live fire areas. I mean, I need more. So, but the scary thing about Colorado are their gun laws. And so hopefully their legislature, they came dangerously close to passing the semi-auto ban. And so that's something that our girls have to stay on top of and advocate for. We had a number of girls going to the Capitol on a regular basis to talk to their legislators about making sure that they don't take away our rights. That is a big concern about that facility and something that we all need to be involved in that conversation. We can't all just flee and go to different states. We have to stay and fight because those fights are coming to even the traditionally freedom-loving states too.
Yeah. And the other thing that popped in my head is, anybody done an economic impact study? Like, have you found out how much you bring to the area when you're there?
Yeah, for that weekend, it's a little over $3 million.
That's nothing to pass up
for a weekend. It's good money for a weekend.
Yeah. And the town doesn't have to advertise for it. They just sit back and open the doors.
Yeah, considering everybody comes from out of state, most people, or a different part of Colorado for sure. So all the hotel rooms are taken, all the restaurants are full. There's a lot of activity there, and then of course our girls go and visit the places around after shooting. The vineyards and the all the touristy places, and make sure that those smaller local businesses have support as well. So yeah, it's a pretty significant impact for a weekend.
Yeah. Now over the years, where has the national conference been held?
So our first one was outside of Waco at a range called Tiger Valley. We were so excited to get 100 ladies sign up that year. We were so
Only
excited. 100 ladies. We felt like we had made it. And then it was there 2 years. And then we went to Copperhead Creek, which is northwest of Austin. And then we moved to Reveille Peak Ranch, which is northwest of Austin. And then we moved to Colorado.
Well, it's crazy. And okay, now you just mentioned, you thought you were it when you had 100 women to come into this training event, right?
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind that this year at our leadership day, we had 200 there just for our leadership day. The whole conference, we had 706 students, and then we had 150 staff, and with vendors and sponsors and friends, we had over 1,100 people there at conference. So yeah, how things have grown.
Did you ever think you'd get this big?
Yes. I feel like I'm just at the foot of the mountain, Dave. Like we have so many places to go. Conference, I want to keep it small because I want it to be affordable to ladies. I don't want to make it exclusive. I don't want to lose that new student welcoming atmosphere. I really want it to be embraced. It's our national conference, which means that all members of A Girl and a Gun should be able to go. And so I don't know how much bigger we can get, just because I do try to limit classes to 12 to 16 students based on the content presented. So I don't want to gyp someone on that experience. And so I'd rather have it smaller. But we have a lot of other events throughout the year, and a lot of ladies will come to them. We go to Glock twice a year for the armor operators courses that we host there. We have our Drift Academy twice a year. We have our Sniper School. We have Fall Fest, and we have our Clays Extravaganza. So we're always doing something. Almost every month we have a big event or a retreat getaway where ladies can come and hang out with me and learn and do different things. I want every woman in America to be part of A Girl and a Gun. I want every woman who wants to be armed and have proficiency in skills and be in a community that gives them opportunities. At every range in America, you walk in and see our banner. Just, something small like that.
I don't know. Anything else you want to share or put out there?
I don't know. I would just encourage everyone to please share the message of A Girl and a Gun and invite women to get to know us. They can find more about us on our website at agirlandagun.org. You can find a chapter near you. And what a lot of people don't know is not only do we have the in-person events, but we have a ton of online videos. You have to be psychic to know they're there because you have to be a member to log into the video library. But then it's like Niagara Falls coming down with all the information. It is so many videos, hundreds of hours of videos of training
That's good.
that on every topic you can think of. And so that allows women to maybe hear a concept a couple times. And we also have a lot of virtual events. So every week, pretty much every week, I'm hosting some kind of virtual discussion. But then we take those at the end of the month and put them on our website as well. So it's constantly being added to more information. And it takes somebody from that very early stage of new gun ownership all the way through some more challenging topics. And because I'm so fortunate to have really great relationships in the industry, I can bring in a lot of different subject matter experts to talk about specific information as well. So we're always expanding the conversation.
Good to have the reach. I'll have to remind Wendy that that's all accessible because she's always looking for stuff to do. She's always looking for new ideas and new topics and new things.
Yeah. So back in 2020, we had our conference, and unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to go digital. And
Mhm.
so all of the training material was made digital and put online.
Oh,
So here are
wow.
3.5 hour blocks available to all of our members. So all of that
Okay.
content that was our national conference is there. And it's incredible because you can go to a 3.5 hour class, you can go to a 5 day class, but how often do you get to go to all of them on all the
Yeah.
topics and train with instructors that you've heard of
Oh,
and maybe you want to know more about? This gives you a front row seat to their class. So there's a lot of really amazing information in there.
like I can see people binging on that.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
got to
great
be nuts.
information and it's on all topics. And some of them, I mean, everything from defense to competition to we have self-defense, unarmed classes, pepper spray classes, knife fighting, defense, and just everything you could think of from situational awareness on through. So everything that a first responder would want to know.
Jeez, that's crazy.
And
That's
I
awesome.
love, I mean, even things like intro to sporting clays,
Oh
hold
yeah.
points and break points and all of those things. There's hours and hours of training material on that. So if you want to be a good shotgunner, it's there. If you want to be a good rifle shooter, it's there. If you want to learn about, how to set dope and optics and all that, it's there. So we really run a great cross section. So a lot of times people think a girl in a gun is only defense or it's only competition, but really we do it
No.
all.
You just looking through that catalog, it's just like, oh my God, I want to do all of this. Like, okay, I'll let Wendy teach and I'm going to go do a class. I'm going to go spy on somebody. I'm going to go see what they're doing and, see what I can pick up. Because, wandering and just listening would be phenomenal as well. Just to listen to what some of the instructors are doing and how they're doing it and what information they're putting out. It's, like when I go to TACCON, instead of sitting through a whole block, sometimes I'll just go for a little bit and go to another one for a little bit and then go to another one and then wander back on the live fire and just pick up as much little nuggets as I can.
And then if
I'm
I,
so proud that we're offering a lot of instruction these
yeah,
days as well. And so our instructors are really, I mean, they're just blowing me away every year. The quality that they're offering on the local level,
yeah,
the information that they take back. But we have some very accomplished and credentialed instructors among our membership. And so they're able to get training too. And even when they go and RO or help out or AI a class, they're getting all that information on how is this instructor presenting the material and how are they making it look easy? Because when you make it look easy, you're just really good at doing it.
we,
So how are they communicating with students? What kind of questions are they getting that should have been clarified during the presentation?
right.
When are they taking time to switch out targets? All those different things that our instructors can learn from watching the instructors as well.
And thank you for the opportunity. It's a privilege. I look at it as being able to come out and you're trusting me with your group of shooters, as you say, your girls. And I wanted to and I think that's why a lot of the instructors also bring their A games because they know they're going to be disinvited if their B game shows up.
They know that I've got my stamp and I'm going to come at them.
Right. Robyn says you're coming back, or Robyn says, thank you for coming. We're going to find somebody else for your spot.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful that everyone brings their A game. I think that they recognize that I appreciate quality, that I've chosen them for a reason, and that I have a vision. And I'm just grateful that everybody gets on board with that, and we're all driving to the same place. And that's what makes it amazing.
My last suck up comment. It's an honor to be part of it. That's what we feel like.
Society. Awesome.
Yeah. Robyn, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening, and especially post vacation. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon. When the planning gets started, or if you need anything from me, I'm a text, a call, or a message away. I'm already looking forward to next year. We're already making our plans. So
good. And I'm going to be hitting you up to have Wendy come and race cars and shoot cars with me. So
there you go. She's in. Just tell her the date. We'll make it happen for her.
All right. I'll see you later.
Robyn, thank you again. We'll see you soon.